Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm a journalist and your guide for this program. But I'm also one of the thousands of people whose lives have been changed by the African Children's Choir. That's me. A long time ago now. Like hundreds of thousands, I was caught up in the suffering caused by the brutal regime in Uganda. The choir gave me a future and a hope. I was a member of the very first choir, and I want to tell you about what's happened since then. Not just to me, but to all the people who've been helped by your support and by the support of friends and partners like you from around the world. Ray Barnett developed the vision for the choir after he'd been working to help people in war-torn Uganda for several years. Despite the work of many people like Ray, he found that hundreds of thousands were still suffering and dying when he returned in 1984. The singing of one child who had hitched a ride with him inspired the idea of a choir of children as ambassadors for their friends and their countries. So, in the middle of civil war and chaos, the first choir was born. Just 31 children from hundreds of thousands. Just 31 from the 500 who auditioned. Then, as now, the few who were chosen knew that their job was to represent many more children who could be supported through the work of the choir. The choir made a tremendous impact from the beginning and was featured on television, at Disneyland, and at countless concerts in Canada, America, and Europe. And the choir kept faith with their friends in their home country, raising enough on that first tour to buy the Makerere Children's Home in Uganda. Ray was challenged again when he heard of the pain and horror of Sudan, and particularly of the 36,000 lost boys, a mass of moving humanity who had spent months trekking across the country to escape the war, shedding half their number along the way, dead from starvation, disease, and the ravages of war. The work of the choir expanded to respond to the needy and helpless children of Kenya, and later of Rwanda, Sudan, Ghana, and Nigeria too. The children of each choir travel to share their music and their hope, and then return to learn and contribute to their country, just like I did. Belonging to the choir and meeting with people like you has inspired us to go on to careers which will serve our countries and give us the vital support for our education. That's how I've learned the skills to share with you now. That's how Moses, orphaned during the civil war in Uganda, was inspired through seeing your fine roads to return home and train as a civil engineer. Now, as city engineer in Kampala, he can improve the country's communications with new roads and bridges. That's how Robert, abandoned when he lost his parents in the Ugandan crisis, was given practical support and the vision to train as a doctor. Now he brings new life into the world, delivering babies in a hospital in his home country. The main goal of the choir is to bring to the world the needs of their people and, in the face of this, help to preserve a whole generation threatened by war, disease, and starvation, replacing fear with hope and guns with learning. For example, in Sudan, where literacy schools provide education for those children who would otherwise have none, and primary and literacy schools in Uganda for children caught in a cycle of despair. And every choir member knows that they have a vital role as ambassadors for the millions like them who don't have this opportunity, because the need hasn't gone away. In fact, it's never been greater. Their home countries are still ripped apart by famine, war, disease, and poverty. The members of this choir have been given hope and a future, and they challenge you to give hope and a future to the many thousands they have left behind for this brief period. Whatever you would hope for children you know, for your own children, all these deserve that too. When we come to sing for you, we come to demonstrate the hope in the face of tragedy, and we ask you to share with us through partnership, through volunteering, and most of all, through giving. It's only with your support and cooperation that we can continue to work together, feeding, clothing, educating, and giving hope to more and more children in Africa. Thank you on behalf of my friends here tonight for coming and hearing our story and sharing our music. And thank you for supporting Africa's children.